Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco, Dish Out on the Movies. Today we are reviewing an older movie that was made in 1989. And that would mean it was 34 years old. And it is called Honey, We Shrunk the Kids. Or
No,
Honey,
it's
I
not.
Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah. You get the title right if you want to be a reviewer.
Oh, be quiet.
So this is my movie. I picked it because we need to do Rick Moranis week as we are leading up to Ghostbusters Frozen Empire coming out. So I thought, why not? I mean, Rick Moranis, he's got like this big chunk of movies. You could watch them at any time and really enjoy all of them basically. And, pick whichever one you want. And you'll find something to enjoy. He's one of the better actors in terms of like having a quality catalog of movies to watch.
And he's funny, which is nice.
Really?
And it's nice.
I didn't know he was funny. I thought he was a
nice
drama.
Humor that isn't so disgusting or bad. Or dumb.
Safi.
It's fun.
He has his moments, Safi. I mean, you can't.
Well, not
come
in this
on.
movie.
In general, I mean,
Okay, Marco.
come on.
Marco just loves to argue with me.
Don't be a dillweed in a cream puff. I don't know. Like don't
Okay, Marco.
don't do that. So, this movie. I mean, you said you don't even have anything to say. Like we were talking beforehand,
I should say. I
and
just
you're
thought
like,
it was really funny.
I don't know what to say. I really liked it, and that's about it. That's all, folks. Is that what you said?
Well, it's funny they have this labeled under a science fiction type of movie.
It is a science fiction movie. Yes.
Which is more than the typical Disney movie. You can't really look at a Disney movie today and say, oh, that's science fiction.
I'd say
like this.
One of the things to talk about is that originally Stuart Gordon was supposed to direct the movie, and he came up, I guess, he was one of the people to come up with the idea for the movie, and that is, of course, the guy who did Reanimator. And it's just so funny that, like, it was originally supposed to be his movie, and then he got ill, and someone else had to take over. And I thought that was very interesting because when I think of this movie, I don't think about Stuart Gordon and Reanimator with that part with the chopped off head trying to do that thing to that girl, and stuff like that. Like, I don't think about that. I mean, this is a family movie. And just to think how close we were to getting Stuart Gordon's Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Because
Wow.
Apparently a kid was supposed to die in the movie. There was supposed to be a sixth kid, and they were supposed to die during the sprinkler sequence. And I think, wow, that would have been great. But not in this movie. Like, maybe if he did, like, his own version of the movie, like an R-rated version, that would be fine. And then he could do that. But if just doing that in, like, a kid's movie and a family movie, I don't think that'd be a great idea.
No, not in this movie. This movie is perfect the way it is, the way it turned out.
It's a perfect movie. There's only, like, one or two issues that I have with it, which we'll get to. I mean, should we get them out of the way?
I suppose.
Well, first off, I know they'd never do this nowadays because they're so overly sensitive. And it's not necessarily something that I have a problem with personally, but I just think it's something funny to talk about. And that's the part where the neighbor, the big Russell, he's smoking the cigarette that he's not supposed to be smoking.
Oh.
And then he drops it in the backyard of the Zelensky backyard. And the fact that, like, the cigarette ends up helping the kids. So it's almost like a pro-smoking message that, like, see, like, look at this cigarette, like, really, really helped them a lot.
And they didn't like it. They made You go, ew, what's that from? And
But
then they
still,
realize where it's from, but then they used it in a positive way.
it helped them, though. And just the fact that it helped them, I feel like nowadays they would never have allowed the cigarette to help them at all. But one of the questions that I had, this was the problem that I had, was, you know, when I saw that cigarette, my instinct wasn't to make a torch. My instinct was, why don't we try to set the grass on fire? For when they're looking around with the magnifying glasses, why don't we try to set some grass on fire and just cause a little bit of smoke so that then maybe that could help them see them?
Oh, that's true.
So, that's what I thought. And I was wondering, why aren't they trying to do that?
Well,
Safi?
I'm just thinking about the forest fires that have been started.
Safi, you can't start a forest fire on grass! It's a lawn!
I know, but I'm just thinking about somebody being in a forest and...
Oh.
I don't know. You think they've had terrible situations with that
Safi, are you shitting me?
I didn't think anything bad about it at all. I thought it was, they turned something, and they also realized that their father was very worried about them. He wasn't mad. He was worried. And so I thought that was a good thing, too.
The last issue that I had was the very, very end.
Yeah.
You know, there's this part earlier on in the movie where the Amy almost dies, and Russell Jr., are there three Russells? Or what's the littler one?
There's two Russes, right? Big Russ and Little Russ.
Yeah, but what's the little kid? Or is what's the father? Is the father Russell or the two kids Russell? I'll have to.
No, there's the father and the son.
Well, then
Oldest son.
who's the little piece of shit? Who's that fucking
Who's
that little fucking dweeb who was in Tom Hanks's Big?
I'm not sure because they don't. She calls him. She doesn't call him by his name all the time.
Ron. He doesn't look like a Ron.
Oh.
Anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah, there's this part where the brother, he has to save her, and he gives her mouth to mouth, and then Nick asks where he learned to give artificial respiration, and he says French class, and it's a funny thing because Nick can't figure it out, even though he's like a genius. He can't figure it out.
Not something like that.
And then at the very, very end of the movie, all of a sudden, it feels like the movie has ended. It has a perfect ending. We don't need to see anything more. But then all of a sudden, we come back on screen, and Nick is like, "Oh, I get it. French class. Ha, 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 ha." And I just felt like that was the stupidest fucking that was the most unnecessary thing I've ever seen, because that was so lame. I felt like, why did you did not need that at all. That was, to me, the worst part of the movie. I completely cringed when I saw that. I never understood why that was needed. Even when I was a little kid, I was like, why the fuck is that in this movie? Yeah, we got it. We're smarter than this kid. That's the whole joke, is that he's a genius and he can't figure this out, but everyone else in the audience can figure it out. So I thought that very, very ending, they almost ruined the movie. Or they ruined the ending of the movie, because the ending was perfect and then they had to do that. Safi?
Yeah, I didn't think they needed that. I just thought, it's just like somebody who's just been thinking about that all the time, but they haven't said anything. And then finally, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they think of it. And that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
And so, no, they didn't have to. But he's always thinking about things. He's a genius boy. And
I just thought that was stupid, though. That was definitely the worst part. That was the only part. The rest of the movie, I was like, wow, what are we going to talk about in the review? Like, because, like, the movie's perfect. It's a perfect movie. It's a perfect kids movie. It's a perfect comedy. It's a perfect family movie. Like, what is there to say? And then at the very end, like, they just had to do that, so... Safi?
It's okay.
Well, let's talk about, like, what are our favorite moments, because obviously the plot is very simple in a way,
Yeah.
but they're able to make it complicated also, because even though they're trapped in the backyard, there's a lot of evil things in the backyard that can get them, either on accident or on purpose. What was your favorite or couple of favorite scenes from the movie?
Well, my favorite part was them going through the backyard to the house.
Oh,
The
so
whole trek.
that whole part.
journey.
So, but that no, you have to be more specific than that. I mean, that's like a bitch made answer. Like
I like the part about the ant.
Okay.
With the ant. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was good.
I mean, the kid was using his knowledge about ants. And then they have to look at it in a different way because they're real tiny and the ants real big.
I thought it was good how all the different kids added their own, or all the different kids helped in some kind of way.
Yeah, they worked as a team.
Yeah.
Using whatever strengths that they had.
That was great. You know, you don't see that anymore in movies. You just see the men are stupid and they can't do anything, and the strong women do everything for them. That's what you see. And in this movie, you know, they're all a part of a team together, even if some of them don't like each other. And what I really liked was I liked the father figuring out what happened and his investigation and figuring everything out. And then when he finally figures it out. And so here's another problem I had, actually. Well, it wasn't a big problem, but when he discovered that little tiny hole in the garbage bag, I thought he discovered that really, really fast.
I didn't think in the movie it was that fast. In other words, I wondered if they edited it a little bit because
They edited it fast, but like
I thought it was longer.
it was because of the editing, I think. But like he found it really, really fast. But I really loved the whole part where after he discovers that, like all the times where him and his wife are trying to get through the lawn without stepping on and killing the kids. You know, like how he hangs on to the fence and he has to jump over on the porch. And then they get onto those contraptions where they're hanging.
That's a laundry
off the
thing.
Yeah.
Hanging thing.
And then it's really, really hilarious. And then of course that couple comes over, and then the woman from Twin Peaks, she's like, "He's flying! Why is he flying?" And like just all that was really, really good. That was my favorite stuff in the movie. All that stuff. But I know what I think your favorite part is, Safi.
What?
The part at the beginning where the girl is dancing in the kitchen while she's cleaning, and this fucking bitch, Amy, she can't do shit. Like, she's useful in the lawn, but like in the real world, like she can't even make toast. She can't even make bacon. It's all black and burned and overly done, and like I was like, oh no. That would be a nightmare because like the dad doesn't know how to cook and she doesn't know how to cook either. Like, why doesn't the little genius cook?
Well, he's a little kid.
So?
Doesn't want to. He's too busy. I don't know. Too busy being a little tiny kid. I mean, how old is he supposed to be? 9?
9 or 10.
And how old is she supposed to be?
I don't know.
15?
I thought she was Laura Dern. I thought, she looks a lot like Laura Dern.
Yeah, she does.
And so, like, I thought it was her.
No.
So, I thought she was in her 20s or something. Like, early 20s.
No.
What?
No, I don't think so. I don't believe it. In the movie? No.
Yeah.
No.
No, like, just, that's how she looked to me.
Oh.
Well, who's your favorite character? I would say, I don't know, because, like, I really like the neighbors, and I thought You know, the neighbors are almost actually more interesting as a family than the Zelensky family.
Well, it's
Because
I
this,
kind of like the Big Russ too.
yeah, because this movie wouldn't have worked without that family as well. This movie, it wouldn't have worked if it was just
Geniuses.
the Zelensky brother and the Zelensky sister.
Well, I thought it was good just to have a mixture of people because that's the way the world really is anyway. I mean, that's
Yeah.
what the neighbors would be. Somebody might be, I mean, the father and the son are really brilliant. And then the next door neighbors, they're just, they're average people. But I don't mean average dumb. I just mean that they're these other people are they're like geniuses. And these people are regular people. They're funny. And they just live their lives and play football, etc., or not play football, as the son didn't want to do it. He didn't think he was big enough, and the father wanted him to play. But I just thought that's really the way life is. That's the way, you know,
Really?
you live on a street. That's what it would be. It's like a microcosm. So it just happened to be that these geniuses, because the little boy from next door hit the baseball and hit it through his window, that's how they collided into each other's lives.
Well, something else to mention would be, who's your least favorite character? Because I know who mine is. Least favorite. And it can't be the cigarette. That's not a character. Even though it's pretty big.
I don't know.
You don't have a least favorite character?
I got all the people who, when he has this shrinking machine, but he hadn't been able to prove that it worked yet. He had all and that was weird too. I think, I don't know. I don't. It's
What?
hard to say, but
Oh, you're going
I
to
know
criticize something else?
the academic people, when he went to show his project at a conference. Of course, this can happen. It's true. This can happen. These other academics, they're jealous, and they can be real jerks when it comes to acknowledging somebody's research, that it's valuable or that it's true. And they had one jerky guy said, "Well, I'm going to go to lunch," because he didn't want to hear anymore. And then he prompts everybody else to leave, and so they didn't want to listen to Rick Moranis talk about his shrinking project.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know. I know how academics can be, and they're real good at scoffing at what everybody else does. Until, I mean, it's a rock solid. They have to have rock solid proof before they can even begin to acknowledge its existence.
Well, I'm really surprised, Safi. I'm surprised that you didn't mention the obvious little prick in this movie.
Okay, who?
Well, that kid named Tommy. The kid with the green jacket. That fucking piece of shit kid. Every single time I watch this movie, I don't care if he didn't know or what. I hate that kid. I hate that. That is one of the worst kid characters in movie history. He comes over right at the end. They're really close to finding the kids, kinda. And then this little fucker, he comes over and he's like, "I'm gonna mow the lawn because Nick promised me." And so he starts to mow the lawn and he almost kills these kids. And he's got the earphones in, and so they have to like really scream to get his attention. I thought every single time I watched the movie, I remember how much I hate that kid.
Yeah.
That's that kid's the worst. I hate that kid. I don't care that he didn't know. I don't care. I don't even care. So what?
Yeah, I didn't like him either. And at the end he said, "This family is really weird."
Yeah.
I'm like, well, you were going to mow the lawn with their contraption that they made that nobody else has. Of course, and now, I don't know, do they have lawnmowers that just go out there kind of like vacuum cleaners where you can direct it around? I'm not sure. I haven't seen one of those lately.
I'll
Of course,
look
in
it
the
up.
winter, around here, nobody worries about mowing the lawn.
I guess there is some kind of thing. It's $1,000-something.
Oh, yeah.
Looks pretty small. Yeah, they have a little remote controller just like, no, that's a toy. I don't know. I guess.
I thought they did, but
I guess they have it.
just showed it a little bit.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's
look.
someone. So that's pretty hilarious, but like, I just thought, but you know what was really funny? I looked it up, and apparently the actor who played that kid in real life, he grew up to become a drug addict,
He grew up to become a drug addict?
and because he got a tonsillectomy, and he got addicted to pain medication after getting the tonsillectomy, and so he actually went to prison for robbing people somewhere in their home or something, and then in prison he overdosed on heroin and he killed himself on accident.
Oh my God! Are you joking?
No, and so
Oh my God!
I thought that's pretty funny. Like, you know, it's pretty funny because you look at all these kids movies and these family movies from back in the quote unquote olden days. And basically, in every single one of them, there's some person in the cast who, like, died of some dark, tragic death. Like, you can't escape it. Like, every single kids movie or family anything, ironically, there's always some horrible tragedy that happened behind the scenes. But then when you go to, like, horror movies, everyone does okay. Right?
I guess.
Well, except for Poltergeist, but we all know who was responsible for that. Wink, wink. So, Safi,
Sorry.
what else is there to say about Honey, I Shrunk the Kids?
I don't know. I thought it was really cool. It kind of reminded me of, what is it? It's not Journey to the Center of the Earth. There's another,
Killers of the Flower Moon.
No, Marco, this is an older movie. I used to watch.
Treasure of the Sierra Madre.
Island.
What's that?
It's an older movie.
Mysterious
and they
Island.
have all the creatures are really big and they're really small. And I remember the bee, and they're in the honeycombs getting the honey out of the combs.
Ew, it's on Tubi.
It was like one of my favorite movies. It was really good.
Beth Rogan?
I really loved it.
Who's that?
Yeah, Julius Verne, Mysterious Island. It was 1961. And I've watched that. I haven't watched it in years, but that was like one of my favorite movies. Whenever it came on, you know, like on the weekend, on Saturday or Sunday morning.
I thought we had that movie on VHS, or we had some kind of movie on VHS.
I think they tried to remake it.
About like this island with like these creatures on it, but it wasn't like a Godzilla thing.
That dinosaur thing? No.
What was that?
This is actual bees, honeybees, and especially the honeybees reminded me. That was kind of like an educational type movie.
Well, what was that movie called?
I don't know.
Why not?
It was they were kids, and I think it was a New York museum. And they had a science exhibit, and it was a dinosaur thing, and I remember they were on the water, and then they were on an island, and then there's these dinosaurs, and...
We'll have to find that. But anyways, back to this movie.
That's what it reminded me of, Mysterious Island.
Well, it reminded me of, like, oh yeah, there are perfect movies. You know, like...
Well, yeah, that was a really good movie. I mean, all the way around. It was funny.
Extremely enjoyable.
There were realistic things in it. And it was interesting, too, to look at it from a perspective of being really tiny. And all the bugs, just regular-sized bugs, insects, being larger than you.
Yeah.
And... You know, they're riding on the bee's back. which is unbelievable, holding on to it. Then you have a stupid scorpion, which I'm like, are they in an area where there's scorpions?
I thought, you know what would have been so much scarier is like a centipede or a millipede. Like, that would have been so much scarier.
Yeah, because they're so fast.
Yeah.
Those legs.
I would say...
I don't think you see those things outside.
I've seen a millipede outside.
Well, it seems like we've seen most of them inside the house. Not this house, but the one we used to live in.
But anyways, I would also say that this movie's really good because it feels like there's actual stakes to what's going on. Even though you know probably the kids aren't going to die, like in Stuart Gordon's fantasy world, where, you know, he really likes horror. Even though you know that no kid's going to die, it's still really scary, and it's still the stakes feel real, and they take the stakes seriously. You know, nowadays, if they made this movie, which they have made a remake or something, it's going to be terrible. Josh Gad is the star of it. Ugh, gross. He's one of those fat clowns. Like, you know, those fat actors in Hollywood, and all they do is just be like clowns, like big fat clowns. Like, you know, he's one of them. And so, well, and he's nothing like Rick Moranis. Like,
No.
And so, but, you know, nowadays, you know what they're going to do. They're going to have it be where, like, oh no, we're in danger, let's crack a joke. Like, oh no, the scorpion, oh, there's a scorpion over there. Oh, it's time to crack a joke about a pop culture reference, you know, because we'll pretend like we're in a Marvel movie since, you know, Disney owns this property. You know, everything has to be like Marvel movies. So that's another thing I loved about this movie is the fact that they took the stakes seriously and there wasn't jokes constantly. You know, just joke. Most of the... Oh, is that it? Journey to the Beginning of Time?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, I found it. That's how good I am at finding things. I'm gonna find your face. But, like, I think most of the comedy comes from the parents trying to find the kids and all the stuff going on outside of the lawn journey. Like, the majority of the lawn journey is serious, I think, and more dramatic.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's less jokes there than with the outside story. That's what's going on.
There's 2 times where they could have been killed.
Yeah.
One is where the girl almost drowns. And then the other thing is when the lawnmower gets right, they are hiding in a some kind of either a rabbit hole or a groundhog hole, or they never find out because it's whatever it is, it's moved out. And the lawnmower lands right above the hole, and it starts trying to suck them up into the lawnmower. And because the kids stopped because they yelled at him, and that's where it stopped, where he let it finish, and they were being sucked up into it, and they were close to being killed, and the parents turned it off. So,
yeah, I think that the lesson that you should take from this movie in terms of kids' movies and family movies in general is that, like, if you have a serious type of movie like this where at least you think that the kids might be in danger, the movie is going to be a lot better. You know, you can still have a lot of comedy and have a lot of fun family-type moments, but if you have, like, these serious moments where you think the kids might be killed for real, it actually really improves the experience, and I think that that's the one thing that's really lacking from family movies nowadays is taking things seriously. You know, because as I said, all the time nowadays it's just laughing at everything. Everything's a joke. Nothing serious. Everything is sarcasm, pop culture references. And I mean, how many pop culture references are in this movie, Safi? Like 1 or 2? Like the Little Debbie? I mean, that's not really a pop culture reference. That's a what do you call it? A product placement. So, like,
Well,
that's...
that was a major product placement.
Yeah, well, it works because, like,
know.
I'd like to eat one of those oatmeal cream pies. Wouldn't
Yeah,
you?
they still sell them, too.
Yeah.
Actually, that's what I was going to give it for my review.
Well, you can still do that.
Okay, well, now you know what my review is. I'm going to
Yeah.
give it
Spoiler
Little
alert.
Debbie's
Go ahead.
oatmeal cream pie.
Go ahead and give it that. Talk
Because
about
it
your
was,
food rating.
They were starving. They hadn't had any dinner, maybe no lunch, and no breakfast. And so they had something to eat. And of course, it was something to keep the aunt entertained, so it could help them cross the lawn to the house, but as much as it could do it. And then also his toys, Legos. They had a Lego. Remember, they slept in the Lego. And what was the? Oh, another toy was a dinosaur toy, which is funny.
But I was saying pop culture references, like there's basically none in this movie. And nowadays, it feels like there's like a quota where you have to have at least 20 pop culture references and 20 references to something.
It's funny, too, because none of those things, the three things that we mentioned, they're still around.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you'll come across something and makes the movie dated.
Yeah.
The only thing that really dates the movie is the hairstyles.
You mean like that one movie with that cleaning stuff that they used, Bon Ami?
Bon Ami.
From The Ghost of Mr. Chicken? Like that was fucked up.
Well, it's been around forever, and I guess it was just recently taken away, but I mean, it wasn't very popular. That's probably why it was taken away. And it's kind of like Comet, or that one that's really good, the bar, what is it for? It's a gold label, and it's for, it's really good, but it's really, you can smell the chemicals, but it's a really good cleaner.
I would give this movie a Kit Kat because I think that, I don't really eat a lot of candy, but every once in a while I might eat a Kit Kat and I'm just reminded of how good Kit Kats are. I really like how the chocolate is thick but not too thick. The layer of chocolate, like there's a nice bite to it. And I love the wafer on the inside. The wafer isn't really artificial tasting, and it's just perfect. And I think that the movie's a Kit Kat for sure. It's a classic Kit Kat. It's a movie that you could watch it at any time. It's a perfect movie. It's very funny. It's very good. It's a fantastic movie. And, yeah.
Now, my review, I just said it was that Sarah Lee, that Little Debbie oatmeal cream pie, but it was also kind of like the supporting actor role too, because it played such an important role with the aunt.
Did you just say oatmeal cream pie was a supporting actor?
Yeah, it's like a supporting actor thing.
Which actor do you think is an oatmeal cream pie? Like currently in Hollywood, like which actor or actress?
I don't know.
Okay.
Margot Robbie.
Oh, Safi, you've exposed yourself now.
Yeah, I don't know. What can I say? The movies nowadays are just
trash.
Well, they're just so.
I mean, I would rather watch this than literally any movie we watched from last year.
Yeah, I watched it in the evening, and it was just so entertaining and fun and relaxing. And
I'd say, like, that kid, that Tommy kid, like, what I would have said to him, which I'm sure would make him very, very confused, would be like, you know what, like, instead of doing drugs, like, watch this movie and you'll feel really good. Like, you don't need drugs to feel good. You just need Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah. Well, he might not have liked his part in it.
Overdose on Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Don't overdose on heroin. Right, Safi?
Yeah, I don't know how anybody could get addicted to heroin after having a tonsillectomy.
No, I guess I don't know. I
It's
guess it
amazing
started
that he
off
had
as
a
something, and
It's amazing that he had a tonsillectomy because, I mean...
well, everyone used to get those like
well,
that.
That was back in my day,
That used to be
though.
like a requirement. It's like when you grow up, you get a tonsillectomy at a certain point.
And they were unnecessary.
Nowadays, they're like, no, actually, you don't need that at all.
No.
Never did.
No. That's why it's kind of amazing, because that wasn't the old days either. That was in the 90s. It would have been in the 90s. So, anyway, so if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and become one of our subscribers. We're past the 500 mark now, and we appreciate and acknowledge your feedback. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye!